tiny plays for Ireland.
What we're doing is looking for people to write tiny plays for Ireland, so short, very, very short plays that they feel capture something about contemporary life in Ireland. It's part of, engaging with life out there and with new writing and various ways of bringing new writing to the stage. So we're looking for established writers and first-time writers and people who've never thought of writing a play before, people who maybe have thought about writing a play but have never got around to it and think, well, maybe I'll try a tiny play. People might have something to say and they might decide to write a letter to the Irish Times or whatever, but if they feel that a play is the way to get their message across, write something and submit it to us, and we're really looking forward to receiving the entries and seeing what people have to say and what people out there want to share with an audience in a theatre, because there'll be such a turnaround of plays and we might be producing around 24 plays over the course of the evening. Then we might not be able to have a full set for every play, but people can think imaginatively and visually and theatrically, as well as just thinking about the words. And I suppose while we're also saying that people can use up to 3 actors, the plays can happen with 1 or 2 or 3 actors, and we're happy to accept monologues if people feel that's the best way that they can tell their story. But we're encouraging people to think about dialogue and about sort of connections and relationships and moments of change or dilemma between 2 or 3 characters.
It's not just a case of trying to cram, what you'd say, an hour, 2 hours into a few minutes. What advantages do you think there might be of a short play?
I think if you feel you've got a big play in you and you try and squeeze it into 3 or 4 minutes, that's probably not right. When you want to we want people to feel, oh, I have an idea for something, and 3 or 4 minutes is just the right amount of time for it. Maybe our attention spans are getting shorter, but I think there's a real chance for a writer of these plays to feel they have the audience's complete attention for 3 or 4 minutes and to share something beautiful or profound or gentle or a small insight with us. More angry, absolutely. Yeah. Furious plays are good too.
We're just new work, really, aren't we?
Yes, exactly.
Not an edit of something someone already had. And I think we're interested in getting people to express themselves through playwriting in such a way that they feel they can unburden themselves or something. Are we just going to pick the best plays? Are we going to sit in this room and one of the best plays, or the other criteria that do we want balance, or how are we going to do that?
I think we're going to choose plays that engage with contemporary life, plays that have something to say, plays that have a sense of passion to them, plays that seem to come from the heart of the writers and have a demand to be seen in a way, and also plays that are theatrical and engaging theatrically. What
should people think about in terms of locations? What can they use the theatre to do?
I think that one of the great things about theatre and the magic of theatre is that you can be transported anywhere in a play. Sometimes here we get plays from people saying, oh, it just has one set, so it'll be easy to stage in a theatre, or it's set in a room, so it'll work well in a theatre. And we tend to say to people, well, actually, a play can be set in outer space or in anywhere you like, in the middle of the ocean, and you can find theatrical ways to convey that. So I think people can let their imaginations run riot in terms of where they're set. Because it's plays for Ireland, I suppose we're particularly looking for plays that are set all over Ireland and plays from people all over Ireland. You're the literary manager here at Fishamble, Gavin. You're not eligible to apply yourself. But if you were to write a short play, what do you think as a playwright you would be thinking of, or how would you be approaching it?
You are the first audience of your own play. So I think imagine seeing the play yourself, and the play is a recording of what you see in front of you, and you write down what's vital for the reader to know to create that. Think about very simple things. I would think about a prop, there's a table and there's a book on the table. Is that something? I often see real actors or actual friends in those roles and hear their voices, because maybe those voices are not quite my voice. So if I feel I need to hear a Donegal voice, I have to imagine that. A shift, a balance, changing an outcome, so that even though it's only 3 or 4 minutes, we feel that the relationship between one or more people is moved on. And if you're in particularly cracking form, that captures something about how society itself has shifted in a certain time frame.
Being very specific about where something is set is kind of good as well, isn't it? That that very often being very truthful and specific and having a very clear picture of the place and maybe the people in your mind is going to allow a play to be more universal and to appeal to an audience, than trying to do something more general. Like plays can be set nowhere or whatever, but to think in general very specifically is probably good for the writer, isn't it?
Yep, and I think if you think about those things, have a think about public spaces and private spaces. A scene between a husband and wife at home over tea is one thing, but a scene between husband and wife outside in a cafe where people can overhear them is another thing. You think about time, you say 2 in the morning, 5 in the morning, at sunset. You think about time in all its possible varieties.
Yeah, and even a 3-minute play can be something that happens in real life over 3 minutes, but it can also span 2 years, or it can be one moment that's stretched to become 3 minutes, you know, so people can think kind of imaginatively about time as well, really. Sometimes an idea might strike you, I suppose, and writers come about their ideas in different ways. But for this particular project, would you think people should read the newspaper and see if they see an article that sparks off an idea for a play, or become eavesdroppers and take notes of things they hear? Or
there's a level at which, you know, Nama writes off 37 billion is a shocking thing, but that's not a play. That's just shocking information.
Yeah.
If you were looking at newspapers, you'd be looking for things where you go, why did the person do that?
Yeah.
What on earth possessed them to do that?
Yeah.
What was going through their head at the exact moment that happened? So curiosity. If you're reading the paper and you think, I'm really curious to know more, well, imaginatively, maybe you can make the leap for us to know more, you know, to do that. So I think it's not about the information, it's about the trying to comprehend why people behave the way they behave. Okay, we have the plays in, we're going to production March project next year, 2012.
Yeah, the plan is to bring a team, a creative team together, really, you know, director and designers, set designer and costume designer and composer, depending on what the plays need, really, and then to think about how we're going to stage them all. We're a new play company and we do new plays all the time. The writers are always encouraged and invited to be in rehearsals, so we'd hope that the writers would engage with that and to kind of tell us how they see things and what they think the play should look like, but also, I suppose, to be very open about the fact that theatre is a collaborative process and that it'll be a matter of the creative team working with them to realise the play on stage.
Well, that sounds great, Jim. That's excellent. So we were launching in September.
Yeah.
There'll be details up on our website.
Yes, that's the plan. I mean, we're delighted to be working in partnership with the Irish Times, so it'll be announced by us in Fishamble and also through the Irish Times. And the plan at the moment is to publish a couple of short plays that we'll be producing, which we're going to commission from established writers for people out there in the public to get a sense of how the challenge is dealt with by some other writers, and then they can go off and have a couple of months to write something and submit it to us, and we're really looking forward to receiving the entries and seeing what people have to say and what people out there want to share with an audience in a theatre.